The curious case of Brad Pitt's taste. Everyone has an actor whose films they have seen more often than anyone else's. Jason Statham, if you like gritty gangster or revenge action. Timothée Chalamet, if you are into arthouse cinema. Or Nicolas Cage, if you just want a few surreal laughs. For me, it has always been Brad Pitt. Not because he is the world's greatest actor, he is not bad. But he is no De Niro either. Remember Meet Joe Black? Nor because of how good-looking or cool he is. It's his taste, in scripts, clothes, even women, because it has matched mine for 35 years and counting. Okay. So I'm not an Oscar-winning actor, haven't raced any Formula One cars, produced any renowned films, or dated famous women such as Gwyneth Paltrow or Angelina Jolie. And when I turn up to a New Zealand film set, I get handed a polystyrene cup of Kona coffee instead of a glass of champagne and a proper trailer. But I still see enough similarity in our interests that I have watched more of Brad's films than those of any other actor over the years. By far. And D. Pitt. Why is that? The answer lies in another question. What is a Brad Pitt movie? What does one typically look like? There is not much similarity, aside from Brad appearing somewhere in each of them. How else do you neatly put films as disparate as Thelma and Louise, say Seven on, F1, Ocean's 11, Fight Club, Interview with the Vampire, Snatch, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood into the same basket? Brad Pitt does what he has always done, makes films that interest him. When backstage asked why he had not simply become a conventional blockbuster star, he said, "It was less about a career than finding the films I wanted to see." That is the only explanation I can think of that makes sense of his filmography. It also helps explain some of his role choices. Anthony Hopkins absolutely owned him in Meet Joe Black. Morgan Freeman was far more memorable and believable in Say Seven Un, and Brad limited himself to a cameo in True Romance, the coolest film around at the time. You got the sense that Brad liked the scripts so much he would have hung around on set to watch the films being made even if he had not been in them, creating a new normal. What drew Brad to his roles again and again was the uniqueness of a script, and Say Seven Un is a fantastic example. Andrew Kevin Walker wrote it while working at Tower Records in New York. David Koepp recommended the script to his agent, and it eventually reached David Fincher. Brad told The Guardian, "I was waiting to find something really interesting, and that wait led me to Fincher and Seven." Brad was a massive drawcard for the film, helping transform a brutal, unconventional thriller into a mainstream blockbuster, an extraordinary feat for a movie with such disturbing subject matter and imagery. Then there is the legendary story that Pitt threatened to walk if the producers flinched from the infamous head-in-a-box climax involving Gwyneth Paltrow's character. That is not the normal behavior of a dutiful A-lister who knows where his bread is buttered. It is not exactly Johnny Rotten behavior either, but it appealed to me as someone who wished he could tell his bosses they were wrong more often, yet valued continued employment too much to exercise that right. Brad has never let his status as a Hollywood superstar get in the way of making unorthodox films. Can you imagine Tom Cruise, himself no stranger to jumping the rails occasionally, appearing in movies as comparatively experimental as 12 Monkeys, Fight Club, or Snatch? They may seem orthodox now only because they are familiar and popular, but at the script approval stage they would have been stacked in the risky pile on any agent's desk, let alone in Brad's folder at Creative Artists Agency. Yet Brad has never seen risk as a negative in his career. "So much of making movies is about discovery," he told the Daily Actor. "If you know everything going in, then it's not worth doing. I'm interested in finding people who have a voice." Diverting the gaze. Then there are the roles he has played. Remember, Brad's breakout role was the ultimate object of the female gaze, a cowboy hat-wearing himbo offering Geena Davis her first taste of forbidden pleasures. Where could he go from there? Surely down the James Bond/George Clooney route of tuxedos, wisecracks, lingering looks, and meaningful goodbyes? No. Brad's first role after winning office workers' hearts the world over was Floyd, a scruffy, stoned couch ornament more interested in cleaning products than advancing his career. But wait, there's more. He also played a twitching, manic psychiatric patient, a gay vampire with a pronounced lean, and, of course, the ultimate sex symbol guaranteed to turn on all the girls. Death. Brad. What are you doing? Whatever interests him, of course. I have to say, there was never a dull moment trying to predict who or what Pitt would play next. Even David Bowie had no idea what Brad might get up to, which was so cool. Imagine conquering Everest, standing at the top with everyone cheering you on, then looking over at K2 and saying, "See you guys? I'm going to check that one out." The one thing he has never done is a Marvel or superhero movie. His mate George Clooney did, Even Robert Downey Jr. has. But not Brad. It's just not my interest, he has said, redefining cool. Then came Fight Club. We all thought Brad